What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Two Car Guys. We're here to talk about Tesla, Ford, and a couple of other manufacturers and things that people may or may not actually like. Right?
Yeah, so let's start off
Like
the
that sounds right.
conversation with Tesla, right? I mean,
Ah,
now, John, you and I joked a couple times, and I mean, joked, but we're kind of serious, right? About potentially buying a Tesla to put it under the stress, right? Drive it every day, drive it distance, see what it takes to own a fully electric car. And I'm not gonna lie, I've been dragging my feet because I don't really want to do it, right? But
it's been tough from this side of the street as well, man. Because honestly, as much as I'm thinking, man, I could daily drive a Tesla and all that stuff, I don't want to be bricked 2 blocks from my work where we all drive performance cars and they're like,
right.
John, I see your electric car's working out for you, right?
Right. And I mean, that's the other thing, right? So I had dinner with my mom tonight, ahead of Father's Day.
Yeah.
And we were sitting there talking about the EV market, right? And my mom even said that that she was worried about getting an electric car. So she works, I kid you not, like 5 miles from the house. She goes
Yeah.
to work, comes home for lunch, goes back to work, comes home at the end of the day, doesn't really travel too far. She stays within maybe a 10-mile radius of her house, right? And if
Has she
she if
ever had to make a road trip though?
no, but if she no, she definitely hasn't had to make a road trip. I mean, not in the last few years anyway. But if she ever goes anywhere long distance, I'm usually the one driving, right? So an EV car would actually be pretty beneficial for her. But I was talking to her yesterday or tonight rather, and I said, it would actually make sense for you. And she looked at me and she said, "Do you know how much they're charging right now to put in those charging stations?" And, in the beginning, they were
I
trying
hadn't
to
thought
do
about
them
that.
for
It used to be
they were
part of the
trying to do
car.
them. Yeah, they were trying to do them
Yeah.
either for free as part of the car or relatively inexpensively, and
Yeah.
now it's expensive. And then the other thing is, when you look at it originally, this time last year, right?
Right.
Cobb Energy was doing free charging for your electrical vehicle at night,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
They don't do that anymore. It was kind of like the first one's free, get you
They probably
hooked,
learned a valuable lesson on that. Like,
I think they were really trying to get people to get into the whole electric car market. But
what?
look at what's going on, right? I sent you
Well,
the article and the picture today.
yes, but also there's another big part too, man. Say you live in an older neighborhood, right? Where your
Yep.
house was built into the 2000s, like my house was built in 2006 or 7 or something like that. Anyways, needless to say, I add that charger. Well, when I built my garage, I come to find out that my house's panel fully
Maxed out.
maxed out,
I
dude.
knew
I
it.
couldn't
Yeah.
go any higher. I
Yep.
had and I'm saying when I say maxed out, there wasn't an available slot for anything. And so my house was completely maxed out. So I had to buy a 200 amp service. They had to dig a trench all the way to my street to add this 200 amp service to put my garage in. Imagine if you buy an electric car and that has to happen,
So I actually just hung out with a friend this week, and he
bro.
was saying that he's not an electric car guy, but he actually looked into it, and he lives in California. And I was like, well,
Yeah.
first of all, that might be the worst place to own an electric car,
Problem number one. Where do you
right?
live?
But he said he lives in an older house in California, and that he had a guy come out and talk to him about installing a panel, and they told him it was going to be 30 grand to upgrade his panel because of how
It's
much
believable.
he was completely tapped out at the house. Yeah.
God, dude. Fuck, man. Oh, just imagine you buy the car, unknowing all of this. You get sold on the electric car thing. You show up at the dealership and they're like, "Yes, sir. We can put you in this car. It's $30,000. Let's say best price." You buy the car, you drive it home. You're like, "I'm going to charge it at home." So you plug it in the little 110 outlet, pops the breaker because guess
Right.
what? It's pulling more amperage than it should. I mean, most amperages on garages are 30 amps. I know I'm a little too technical, sorry. But 30 amps is too much for your normal car charger. Plug that bad boy in, pops the breaker. You come out the next morning to go to work to pay for said car, and it's dead because the charger popped. Nothing's there. There's no charge. So now
Yeah.
you call your electrician. You're like, "Hey man, I got this pop breaker. What am I gonna do?" They're like, "Well, we can come in and install a fast charger for you that'll work right off of your thing. It's just like a dryer plug." So you buy that, and then you plug that bad boy in, And come to find out that there was the cost of the car,
Yeah.
$30,000 more dollars.
Yeah, to do the
Crazy.
whole panel and do everything. I mean, it could be the cost of a car, right?
That's crazy, dude.
And like I was talking to my mom, and she said, I heard that they're, 45 minutes to an hour to charge. And I said, well, that's at a fast charger, right?
Yeah.
For somebody like my mom, it works out because she could plug it in at night. She'd come
Right.
home from work and plug it in at night. But to her point, if you were going, on a trip, and I mean, not even on a trip, if you're going from here to, to come see you in Auburn,
Yeah.
right?
100.
I'd
It was about
probably have
140 miles one
Yep.
way.
I'd
What's
probably
the
have to
charge on
stop
that
and
car?
top off, I mean, I told you the story, right? I rented a car in Maine. It had 225 miles on the range. I
Yeah.
went 90 miles round trip and ended up with 14, but is because the majority of that trip was all highway miles, right? And just like anything else, if you run an electric drill on full power, you're gonna drain the battery quicker than if you just use it intermittently, right?
In the most simplest ways, I always think about when I go to dry my car after washing it with my little DeWalt leaf blower,
Yeah.
and it dies midway. And I'm
Yeah.
like, dude, it's a brand new thing. And so I
Yeah.
put that battery on the thing, grab another battery, plug it in, and this one has more charge than the other one. But the problem is on these cars, you get one battery.
Yeah.
If your battery's that weak battery, guess what? It's gonna suck for you.
So what's interesting is I just watched an interview with Elon Musk, and he was talking about what it takes to charge a battery,
Yeah.
right? And he was comparing a battery to an empty parking lot. And he was saying that when the battery is empty, right, that it's kind of like an empty parking lot. You can park anywhere. You can park all over that parking lot. But as the parking lot gets fuller, in order to find a spot, you have to drive around a little bit.
Okay.
And what he was explaining was to charge from 0 to 80% takes as long as it does to charge from 80 to 100. Because once you get up to the 80% mark, it's actually harder for the battery to charge because it's that energy is looking for places to store, right? And it's very interesting because I mean it's complicated technology, but we've talked about this, from so many different angles. And today I send you this article. I mean, they've got 30 plus thousand, right, Teslas at just that one location outside of their Austin factory that you can literally see from space. The last time we saw something like that was when Ford had the chip shortage.
Yep.
And they had all those vehicles built, but had nowhere to put them, because they couldn't ship them because they didn't have a chip to put in them. The difference here is they have everything they need for the Teslas. Nobody wants them right now.
So what about?
And I just read a report today. I told you about this earlier. I just read a report today. It said that the majority of people interviewed would rather have a hybrid vehicle rather than a full electric vehicle, because with a hybrid vehicle, they have the option to fill it with gas.
So I guess my other question too, though, when those batteries sit there, normally a gas battery, a gas car, the battery gets weak and loses some of its charge.
Yep.
What's happening to these cars the whole time they're sitting there? And then when they finally do make it to a consumer,
it's just like any other battery. Let's be honest, right? So you think about your phone battery, right?
Yeah.
Your phone battery, if you go into it, it's got a health meter on it, and you can see, the health of the battery just because you take care of it the right way and you don't run it all the way down all the time. A year from now, that battery is not going to have the same amount of charge that it would from day one.
Right. But hypothetically, I'm just thinking some dude is riding around with a generator, charging a gas or diesel generator, charging these dead electric cars to get them to that consumer who's like, I am saving the world.
I mean, let's be honest. The whole "I'm saving the world" thing is kind of silly, because
Look, man,
they're called the materials to make these things are called rare earth metals for a reason, right? We don't have a plan to dispose of these batteries, and that's going to become an issue here very soon. And then the other thing is, right now, where's the power coming from? The
So
power in Georgia is not coming from wind farms, right?
right,
So let's be honest
coal
about
or
what you're dealing with. You know,
coal or nuclear powered plant.
I wish it was a nuclear power plant. And I'll tell you this right now. Look at China and Japan, some of these other countries. They're building nuclear power plants because they're more efficient and they're cleaner than a coal plant, right?
Yeah.
We don't want to do it because nuclear is scary and people don't want to deal with it,
When
right?
it's bad though.
I mean, true.
When it's bad,
When it is
it's
bad, it's
really
bad.
bad.
But if you think about how many nuclear power plants are across the world and how
Oh,
many, how many issues we've had. Now, I will tell you, there is a company out there right now that is retrofitting coal power plants and retrofitting them and making them into nuclear power plants. And what's interesting about that is a lot of the structure, the bones, if you will,
right.
are there for that type of plant. There's just a few things they have to do to make the changeover.
So one thing I've seen lately, and I'm a Facebook Marketplace kind of guy,
I
right?
know
Like
you
I'm
are. I get tons
always
of
in
text
it.
messages from
I'm
you about a
always
bunch of crap I
digging.
don't want.
If I can find a cool deal, I'm after it. Like that's me. And I know a bunch of people relate. But Teslas, I've seen Model S's, 80, the 80K or whatever it's called, in the $10,000 mark.
Yeah.
At 10 grand, I'm thinking, man, that's a buy. Even if it's the worst experience ever, it's a Tesla. We get to try it out and test it for the channel. Tell the viewers what we
Like I
really
said, we
think.
we should definitely get a Tesla. We
I
should
agree.
try it out for the channel.
I say we do it.
We should use and abuse it just
What do y'all think? Y'all think we
daily.
should do that?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I hope they do.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Y'all hit that button. Let me know. Hit that comment button. Tell me if you think we need a Tesla. We'll go in halfsies on it. We'll share it. We'll
I'm
give you
in.
our solid review, and then we'll sell it for a loss.
Okay, question. Can I modify it at all? Can I
I
like
mean,
wide
I've
body it
got
and do stuff with it?
no one knows this until now, but I have a whole body kit for a Tesla Model S, both generations.
I didn't even think that was a thing.
Yep, carbon fiber body kit.
All right. There you go.
So, yeah, it was
Uh
experimental shit from dining.
so
I'm dining. You
so
can
we're
delete that.
starting to see more and more people pull away from full electric and
Yep.
start to make the transition back to hybrid, right?
Yep. Or
I
gas.
I've said it on the channel before. If you're looking to be more fuel efficient, hybrid is the way to go because you don't have to rip and replace our existing infrastructure. You're able to close the gap on the performance by you know uh, reducing the amount of buildup for the turbos if you do turbo engines.
Right.
And from a hybrid technology, you can get more performance and more fuel efficiency out of a gas motor. And you know what? When you run low, you just go fill it up with gas. I think that that's really where we are at. As a society, we love to overcorrect. We see an
Yeah.
issue and we go way
Shoot
to
for the
the
moon.
yeah,
Yep.
way shoot for the moon, and then we finally find that sweet spot. I think hybrid is the sweet spot.
And I think
But
manufacturers are starting to see that as well.
oh, I fully agree. I
Absolutely.
fully agree. Look at some
Yeah.
of these people that were originally focused on full EV, and now they're like, no,
They're
this isn't
pulling back
happening.
so hard, man.
Big time.
Billions of dollars back. Another
Big
thing
time.
too, what do you think it would have taken for the electric car to be a full success? And honestly, my biggest thing was always just give me ability to charge at a regular gas station, right? Like
I mean,
link up with
it's not
any of
even
those
that.
guys
It's
and
not
make that
even
a thing
that.
and make it where I can plug in for 10 minutes and I can move to the next one if I have to or whatever.
I
But,
Yeah, I mean,
you know,
I think that in order for it to be a success, right, that the infrastructure would have to be updated to the point where if I was driving to your house, I could stop for 10 minutes, fill up the car and be on my
and
way.
keep riding. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
These 30-minute stop things just don't fit in normal life, man.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
And the thing is when you go to a gas station, right? You're pretty much guaranteed that when you see a gas station on your maps, that when you get there, there's going to be gas.
Yeah.
Very infrequently do you go there and their pumps are down or credit card machines are
Yeah.
down or
Or if
whatever.
they are,
But
there's two others that are working, right?
e-
Like,
But that's the point, right? You can stand at a gas station, pretty much any gas station I can think of. You can stand at a gas station, look across the street, and there's a competitor gas station.
Yep.
Or you can look just next door and there's another gas station,
Yeah.
right? Unfortunately, with charging stations, that's not always the case. They might
Yeah.
have some at a mall, and then they've got some,
Right.
half a mile, 2 miles, 3 miles, 4 miles down the road,
And then
right?
Jim Bob and his boys came by and was like, "Shing,
Yeah. Yeah.
off with the charger."
Which was crazy, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, copper is very, very valuable, and there's the little amount of copper that's in those charging cables. They're coming by and chopping the cables and
It's
and trying to get the copper out of those
what
cables,
a
which
world
is
we live in,
insane.
man.
It's
What a world we
insane.
live in, you know?
But and just some of the decisions that have been made recently with Tesla in general. I mean, Tesla's lost a ton of money this quarter. In
Yeah.
fact, the first half of this year, they've lost a ton of money, and
Yeah,
there's no real end in sight. Now, I will tell you, remember, you and I went to that dealership that's not that far from my house that had all the crazy cars.
yeah.
They have 9 Tesla trucks for sale, 9. And when I was
It's the new
there,
C8 Corvette, baby.
well, when I was there, he told me, he said that, they may have overdone it,
Yep.
because right now they're not, he thought
You
they were
don't
going to
think
have
they would have thought
people.
about that on, like, number 5? Like, I think this is enough for the dealership.
Well, I think the dealership thought that more people were just going to be clamoring for it and going to be after it. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, they recalled 100% of them because of the
Yep.
steering issue,
Yep.
And we've
And the
we've all
throttle pedal
seen,
issue.
and the throttle pedal issue. We've all seen issues. We've all seen the videos of the carrots and the celery and all that
Off with
stuff
his finger.
in the trunk,
Yeah.
right? So we've all seen that. But now we're starting to see these Tesla trucks are rusting. So they've got rust spots on them, and the bed is leaking, right? When we were at that dealership, out of the 9 Tesla trucks, and they had 2 of them charging, by the way, but out of the 9
Bet they
Tesla
did.
trucks that were there, the ones that we opened the tailgates of were all
Water
leaking.
just came flooding in.
It was crazy. And I was like, what's the
You
point?
know,
And the thing is, you can't see out the back window, right? Because there's with the tonneau cover up or down or whatever it is, you can't see out the back window at all. You do have a video screen that shows you your back, but it's not intuitive. It's in the radio,
I've yet to
and
drive one or see, get that close to one. I've seen them in person and all that stuff, and I was just like, okay, it's an interesting idea.
it is. And I will
Is
tell you,
it
I saw
something
one at
I'm
night
just
for
gonna
the
run
first
out and
time the
spend
other day.
$100,000 on? No.
No, I saw one at night for the first time the other day. It is not it's just got that one light bar across the front.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of distracting as a driver because you don't, we're used to seeing
Tron's
headlights
coming at
behind
you.
you, right?
Yeah.
And when you see a strip of white light, you don't realize that it's a car,
Yeah.
if that makes sense, right? But I will tell you this, and you missed out, right? Because you were in Texas.
Yeah.
But when we were at Cafe and Octane this past time, right? So rewind a little bit. The Cafe and Octane that you and I went to, where we took the Aston and the McLaren,
Yeah,
right?
they were very new. Like
They were
then.
very new, and they had velvet ropes around them. People were
Yeah.
taking pictures, and they were all excited. They were doing the celebration mode and all that stuff, right?
Party's over.
No, it really is. So there's a company here that wraps them and does PPF on them, and they had like 4 of them, and they were one aisle over from the exotics lot, right? And people were walking by them to get around them to go see the exotics, and nobody was taking pictures. Nobody was standing next to them. I think it was one of those things where everybody was really excited to see it in person, and then once you saw it, it just kind
It's
of was like,
done.
oh, it's done.
Party's over. But
Yeah,
that's the thing. They're a one trick kind of vehicle though.
yeah,
I mean, 0 to 60, awesome. Give them that. They can probably outrun half of our cars
yeah,
in 0 to 60. Half of John's cars. You know what I mean? Like crazy cars.
yeah.
They can outrun them 0 to 60. Cool. Got it. Good job. Beauty factor.
No,
I'm going to say that's a no. I don't think you got that.
no. I told you this before, right?
know.
On one of our previous conversations is, most electric vehicles are not enjoyable to look at. They're not
Yeah.
exciting to look at. They're not interesting to look at. It's just that car.
Yeah.
There goes that car. And when you talk about the Tesla truck, it's not a wow factor. It's
It's
kind
just
of
different.
it's a different, right? And
Different.
you
Yeah.
look at it, and most people joke that, Elon probably owes me money because I drew that car in 3rd grade and
Right.
made it out of Legos back then, and so he probably owes me money because he's infringing on my design. But I mean, the truth of the matter is, it's
I
just
signed that
not.
paperwork.
That's right. Truth of the matter is, it's just not practical. It's not a practical vehicle. You
Right.
can't do anything really, really of note
Well,
with
another
it.
thing too is I've never once been like, man, I can't wait to pass my refrigerator on the highway. And how
Right.
many times have I been like, oh, an electric car is a refrigerator? Because if you just want your refrigerator to cool your food, it's going to do that. If you just want to get from point A to point B, it may do that.
May. So, okay, listen. So we're not going to bang on electric cars this whole time, right?
Right.
Let's kind of take a quick step back and talk about something else that is absolutely ridiculously impractical, but super cool. You got to admit, it's cool. Now, I wouldn't pay this kind of money for it. I wouldn't, and you wouldn't either. But let's talk about the Mustang GTD. It's a $300,000 Mustang, right?
I'm be the first one to say that I can buy one for 1% of that and be very happy with it.
No, you can't. No, you can't. You look up this car and you see what they did to build this car. It is
Such
the
a Ford
best.
guy, man.
No, I mean, it's not even about being a Ford person. It's the best that they could do around that car. They built a GT3 car for the road, and it's crazy. Do I think it's worth $300,000? Not a chance. Remember, we had this conversation with the ZL1 Corvette, right? I'm not paying $200,000 for a Corvette. I'm not paying $300,000 for a Mustang. I'm sorry, it's just not worth it. $100,000 for a Mustang, like a GT 500? Yeah.
No.
Okay, possibly.
Absolutely not.
100%.
No, I'm the $50,000 mark on a Mustang. It's the most I'm gonna ever pay for one.
But yet you're willing to pay $100,000 for a Corvette?
Absolutely.
Why?
Because they put the engine in the right place.
They did put the engine in the right place. You're not wrong. But that GT 500 is a phenomenal driving
Phenomenal
vehicle.
car. But the GT350 is also a phenomenal car for $20,000 less.
Yeah, it is. No, you're not wrong.
It's just like the C8 versus Z06. It's for the money, I would buy the C8 versus the Z06, even after owning both.
Yes.
Same thing. GT350 versus GT350 or GT350R versus GT500, right?
Right.
So I'll go GT350R.
But I mean, let's take a step back, right? So this is not in that same realm. This is a limited edition car, all carbon fiber, magnesium wheels, all the trimmings. It's got the best pieces that Ford could put together in a car. And they built this unicorn Mustang, right?
Okay. So did Dodge do that? Dodge did that. Dodge Demon, right?
And I think it's awesome.
The
Would
unicorn.
you pay $300,000 for a Dodge Demon?
Hold on. So one of one. All it could be. Look, I can tell you this. Anything Chevrolet, Dodge, Ford, doesn't matter. I'm not paying $300,000 for it. It does not matter.
There it is.
Dude, the Dodge Viper ACR Extreme Aero is my dream car. You know this.
Yeah.
Am I spending $400,000 on that car? Absolutely not. No, sir.
No.
I will buy that car. If it ever comes back to reality in the 150 mark, call me. I'm your guy. You sold the car. I don't care what color it is. It could be red, and I don't even like red cars.
Red? That was your go-to, not pink? Not pink with like
purple. I don't care.
Yeah, there you go. No, you like purple. Don't lie.
Jessica likes purple. I don't like purple.
You like purple. If you could find a Extreme Aero in purple with green brakes, you'd buy that thing tonight.
Joker purple, totally different. But I'm just saying, at $300,000, dude, like, and you know which way the value is going on that car. The first 500 people that buy whatever the limited edition amount is, it's going to the dirt, son. That car is not.
You know what though? You
could have
said the same. You could have said the same thing about the Ford GT.
Okay,
when that thing was priced at $600,000, and everybody said that was going to be a lost loser because it had the EcoBoost engine in it, and now you can't find one under $1.2 million.
I had a buddy of mine. He had the option. He could buy a Ford GT for $300,000, or
you talking about like an 05.
like an 05 Ford GT for 300 grand.
Yeah.
Or he could buy a Ford Mustang and send it to Shelby to be a 10-mile, one-of-one Shelby Mustang GT 500X or whatever it was. It was like
Yeah.
the super special car. And so he was like, you know what's the better option? I'm going to do the Shelby thing. Bought the car, sent it to Shelby, spent all that money. Guess how much money he lost?
A bunch.
Solid $130,000.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's got to be the car that's special. It's got to do the things that are special. And people have to know that that car does that. And that ain't it, remember? It's a Mustang. At the end of the day, they're going to compare it to every other Mustang under it, just like Corvette, Z06, ZR1. They're going to compare it to every Corvette underneath it.
I think you're going to eat your words on this one. I think this one is probably going to be a collector car. You and I will never. I saw one in person at Pebble Beach. I don't think we'll ever see one at like a
10 years from now, I'm going to see one and I'll be like, hey man, $30,000. You want it?
Hey, if it's 30 grand in 10 years, I might buy it.
Way to rewind this video and be like, hey man, 10 years ago, look at that.
Yeah. I know. I think I'm telling you, I think this is going to be one of those ones where somebody's going to buy it for $300,000 and the market's going to sell that thing for, $500,000, which is going to be crazy. But again, I'm not your guy. I'm not your customer for that. I'm not your client for that. To be quite honest, I don't
They want to give me one. They want to give two car guys one. We're here. You know what I mean? We're here.
Yes.
We'll gladly store it away for 5 years to test the theory. Ford,
right.
Sign us up. We're here.
But to be fair, I'm not a buyer at that car at $100 grand.
No.
No. I'm just not. I mean, is it an awesome car? Yeah, it's pretty freaking awesome.
I mean, just think of the cars you can buy at $300,000.
Yeah.
Any dream car that me and you are interested in.
Yep.
That's in our garage at $300,000.
Not that one.
That ain't it, bro. It's not even on my list. Not even on my radar. And I think 99.99% of the people that are collecting cars are thinking the same way we are.
I mean, you would think so, but again, I think we're going to be wrong. I'm gonna hedge my bets. I think we're going to be wrong.
I disagree. So we'll see.
We'll see. All right, guys. We're going to wrap up another episode. Thank you all for watching our previous episodes. We had a great time filming them.
Absolutely.
We're going to do more car news coming up. I think that seems to be what you guys are liking and what you guys are commenting on. But let us know if there's something you want us to talk about. If you want us to dive deeper into a subject, let us know what it is, and John and I will do our best.
We'll do it. Let's go, man. We appreciate every one of y'all that have subscribed, liked, commented. It goes a long way. We really appreciate it. We're trying to grow this channel, and we'll see y'all on the next one. Thank you.